Let's do it?
Okay, let's do it.
Okay.
Let's do it. Yeah.
Cool. Welcome to Just Being We, the podcast that's not really a podcast, but we're just having a conversation. It's being filmed.
Yes.
We're going to act like this isn't there. And we're just going to be ourselves.
I'm excited.
Yeah.
I'm excited.
Today, I want to talk about mental health, and I brought someone who is so very special and important to me, the lovely Miss Maci Montes.
Hello, sis.
And honestly, this is crazy that this is happening.
Yeah.
When was the last time that we saw each other? Was it class?
It was Barry Friend.
Okay.
It was Barry Friend.
But we're at my house right now. And the last time you came over was like literally a year ago.
Yes, it was a year. Yeah.
Honestly, I feel like it was close to like exactly a year because it was in the beginning
so.
of last year.
Yeah. We
and
both
everything.
looked really different
I
in that
know.
video. I was like looking back on it today and I was like, we look different.
Yeah.
Like we dance different too, which
Yes.
is crazy. But yeah.
I feel like I haven't danced in so long.
Oh my God.
gosh.
Yeah. When was the last time you danced?
Well, I danced like today, but like
Okay.
in class, I don't know.
I took like 3 weeks off.
Yeah.
For this.
Also that, and it's been the holidays.
It's been the
so
holidays.
Everything. How was your holiday?
It was great.
Yeah.
I spent it with family.
Oh, fun.
It was beautiful.
Yeah.
How was yours?
It was great
Good.
too. Like, it was just so nice just to, like you said, kind of like take a break and take it easy.
Yeah.
And I love the holidays.
Me too.
I just think it's such a great time.
Yeah, me
and-
too.
But it went by really fast.
Yeah,
so
it really did. It was like that.
Yeah.
I was like, what
but
the heck?
I always say the build up to the holiday is like way better than the actual
I think
holiday
so too.
itself.
I think so too.
Yeah, because like even before my birthday, I'm like, oh, it's my birthday,
Right.
and then it comes, so I'm like,
Yeah.
doesn't feel like it.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
You're 20 now, which
Yeah.
is literally insane. We're the same age. I mean,
You're
that's,
22.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's crazy being 20. I'm gonna turn 21 next year. I'm
Yeah.
like, ah! I'm like, that's literally crazy. We're out of our teens.
Yeah.
Which mentally takes a toll.
I mean, when I turned 20, I felt different.
I
It
felt
was the
different
same
too.
thing with 18. Like, I actually felt a change in myself.
Yeah.
And 20 as well, because you're no longer a teen.
Oh my gosh.
I can't use that card anymore. 'Cause
Yeah.
I would always use that card
Me
when I was
too.
19. I would be like, I'm still a teenager.
I'm still a teenager,
like,
so yeah.
But now it's like, oh, I'm a any.
No, literally, and it's crazy because like life is short. Life is short. I
Yeah.
mean, let's be real. We don't know what tomorrow brings, and I feel like birthdays are very important. People don't celebrate birthdays enough. I mean, I feel like people
Yeah.
are like, I don't like birthdays or like whatever, and I'm
I
like,
celebrate
oh
the
my
whole
God.
month. I'm sorry. I'm one of those
celebrate
people.
The whole month.
Yeah.
And I don't understand why people are like, I don't want like my birthday. I'm like, you have to celebrate.
Yeah.
It's another.
I love
stepping
celebrating
stone.
other people's too.
Me too.
It's so fun.
And like giving. I love giving gifts.
yes.
So it's just
Yeah.
like, yeah, it's the best.
Yeah. Well, I want to get into first how we met. And we were trying to, again, pinpoint
Yeah.
when exactly we did. But I was saying that I don't think we remember because it feels like we've known each other for
Yes.
so long.
Yeah.
So when we met, it was like, oh, I already know you.
Instant
you already know
connection.
me. Like, bam. Like,
Instant.
Yeah, it just happened.
Yeah, and I feel like our, I guess, I don't want to say struggles, but like our experience in life intertwined. And I feel like it was really easy to talk to you.
Yeah.
And I feel like it was really easy to open up to.
Yeah.
And I feel like a lot of people have difficulty with that with friends.
Yeah.
And it's important to have like one or two of those in your
Yeah.
life. Like those friends where you can be like, hey, I'm not doing good today.
Yeah.
Let's talk about it.
Yeah,
So.
and I love having just open conversations, and I think what was so special, even last year, like, I don't know if you remember, but we were in my garage and we were dancing, but then we, like, stopped dancing and we
Yeah.
sat down and we had, like, a legit, like, 2-hour conversation, and we were just talking, and I feel like I got to know you so much more, and we connected on on a deeper, more human level.
Yeah.
And it was so important to me that my eyes were kind of opened up about you, and I really respect you as a person, and that's why I also wanted to have you on this, because I'm really touched by you and what you have to give to the world and everything, and I think a lot of people will be inspired by you, and I mean, I'm your biggest fan, your number one fan.
Oh my gosh, I'm your biggest fan.
Yeah, but that conversation really opened my eyes up too to having other conversations with people and just
For sure.
asking them, hey, like, how are you?
Yeah.
And just letting them know if you ever need someone, like, I'm here for you.
Yeah.
And I genuinely mean that. Whenever I say that to someone, I don't say it often. Like,
Yeah.
I say it to, like, if I truly care about you, I'm like, hey, I'm
here for you.
And
Yeah.
I feel like some people brush it off and they're like, oh, thank you.
Yeah.
Like, cool.
Yeah.
But it's like, no, like, if you need someone to talk to, I'm the one to listen.
Yeah.
Because I understand. I get it. Even if I don't get it, I'm willing to understand,
Exactly.
to be here just to listen, because sometimes that's all people need, is someone to listen.
Yeah.
And just whenever you have something to get off your chest, or you just need to say, hey, I'm having a bad day.
Having a bad day.
I just feel like crap.
Yeah.
Like,
Right.
And because I wish I had that sort of safety with more people.
For sure.
And I felt comfortable enough to do that.
Yeah.
But I think everyone is kind of on their own time too. And that's another realization that I'm having, is like, not everyone is open or
willing
can
to open up. Yeah.
And can tap into those emotions or are ready.
Yeah.
So it's like being patient with that, but just letting people know, hey, like, I'm here to listen whenever you're ready.
It's so important having a set of ears to talk to.
Yeah.
I mean, it's super important to have a support system and to have, like, family there for. I mean, if you don't, this is the thing, if you don't have, like, a family, you can always have a chosen family.
Yeah.
I mean, that's super important too. And if you ever, feel alone, just know that you're not. Because so many people, I think, honestly, I'm going to be real, I think everyone has a mental health struggle.
Yeah.
Everyone.
And it affects people in different ways. Sometimes it's extreme.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's something so small.
Right. And I feel like, whether it be body image, whether it be a trauma response, whether it be, ADHD, whether, any of those, I feel like everything is connected in a way. And I feel like people just handle it differently.
Yeah.
And the only thing that I get worried about is how people handle it in a negative way. And coping mechanisms are really important.
Yeah.
Healthy coping mechanisms are really important. And dancing is like mine.
Yeah.
I feel like it is with you too. And just not letting it consume you is the number one thing that I always remember. Don't let one thing ruin your day. It's a bad day, not a bad life. That's what I always say.
Wow.
So, I mean, just not letting it affect your whole entire week.
Yeah. And it's so easy to let it affect your week. I've had instances where I would let it affect my week, and I would isolate myself from others. And that's the worst thing to do, because I feel like I'm the most myself when I'm around people that take me out of my comfort zone.
Yeah, and truly care.
And truly care.
Yeah.
And I don't know, I'm the kind of person who is aware about, like, how I feel around other people, and I think I have different energies, and I adapt my energy to whoever I'm around. So I have, like, different personalities within myself. Like, sometimes I'm really outgoing, sometimes I'm introverted, sometimes I'm sarcastic, but it truly is who I'm around, and I always immerse myself in who I'm around, and it's so freeing when you have people in your life that you don't feel drained from.
That's important.
And it's so important.
Yeah.
Because honestly, when I'm alone, I drain myself.
Yeah. Oh my God, yeah.
And I'm like, I'm tired. Why am I so tired? And it's because I'm not doing anything with people who like support me, and I support them, and we're just having a fun time and forgetting about everything. Like, I love going to Disneyland.
I love going to Disneyland.
Like, I'm like,
best.
this is the best time. Or talking about SpongeBob. Or you know, just doing things just for fun.
Yeah, and that make you happy.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I feel like we're both overthinkers.
Yes.
We know that. Yeah. We're both
overthinkers. Perfectionists.
Yes.
And just... I don't know. I don't even know what
Well, the thing is that if you're a perfectionist, it could be a good and a bad thing.
Yeah.
I mean, I feel like perfecting our craft is super important to us, but there's also an unhealthy way of perfecting your craft. It's overworking. It's over being like, I need to do this right now. I need to get this done. I need to be the best I can be. And it's like, we have to remember we're human.
Yes.
That's all we are. We're all the same. It's just a matter of how we live this life that we're given, and everyone does it differently. So, I mean, overthinking is hard. It exhausts you.
Yeah.
It
causes
tiring.
a burnout. And I always get so scared that, like, I'm going to burn out of dance, burn out of my love of dance.
I had that thought the other day.
And that's why, like, I think it's also important with the things that you love to do is taking a step back or approaching it in a different way than what you've done to avoid that burnout. Because I've been so close to a burnout so many times. But I have to go back to why do I dance?
Right.
And why do I do the things that I love to do?
Right.
And it's not for other people. I get a lot of joy that when it affects other people and it brings them joy, and that is my favorite thing, is to be able to inspire someone or even help one person.
Exactly.
And I'm so grateful, and I think now that I'm older, I kind of understand a lot more of how big of an impact that we can have on people through a screen.
Right, which is crazy.
And I think one of the reasons why I wanted to start this podcast too was to connect with people on a deeper level, because it's always been through movement for me.
For sure.
And I've never been one to really be vocal about stuff.
I'm the same way.
I don't know. It's scary putting your voice out there. I always think
sure.
about singers too.
Yeah.
In a way where it's like you're putting your voice out there to be judged by millions, billions of people. It's terrifying. Because you say one thing wrong or you sing one wrong note, you could be gone like that.
Right.
And I think that's why I've always gotten in my own way with a lot of things.
For sure.
Is because I'm afraid to do something wrong. And I don't know, sometimes I feel like I'm a hypocrite in a way, because I always say, like, it's okay to mess up, it's okay to be human, to make mistakes. But I feel like sometimes I don't allow myself to do that.
Okay.
I do a lot, but, like, not as often that I think I can.
Right, and I don't know the exact position you're in, but I do understand. And I feel like because you're in the public eye, it's harder to, like, say, like, I'm having a really rough day right now, because you're afraid of judgment. I mean, like you were saying, like, it's judgment in its comments, and it's people being like, well, people are going through it worse. You have it better than everybody.
Yeah.
And it's like, no. Everyone has their different struggles. It's just a matter on how you handle it and how you get out of that dark place.
Yeah. But I also feel like another thing is, like, I feel for myself, like, or for other people, like, you don't always have to share that if you don't want to.
No.
And that's, like, for you and for people that you're close to worry about.
Right.
And
it's not an obligation to share that with people that look at you.
Yeah. But it, in a way, like, for me, it helps me when I know that it could help someone else.
Exactly.
So I always try to look at it from both ways and try not to be selfish about it.
Right.
Because you never know what someone else is going through.
Right.
And it could be the exact same thing that you're going through.
Yeah.
And they don't have someone to talk to.
Right.
And you could be that voice for them.
Right.
And I think that's just something that's always been so important for me, is to have that voice and to be vulnerable. And that is, like, my number one word is vulnerability.
100%.
Because it's one of the hardest things to do as a human.
Yeah.
And I think it is one of the strongest things to do.
Yes,
Is being vulnerable.
It is. And you know what, like when I was like starting off my Instagram account and I had like a Twitter and everything.
Yeah.
I used to be this little reckless kid, and I was like, on Twitter, I would tweet everything I was going through minute by minute.
Really?
It was so bad.
I've never used Twitter.
Okay, don't.
No. I'm sorry, but like I've never been on Twitter.
Yeah,
it's always been my parents.
No, like it was a point in my life where I was like, honestly, like I need help and I don't know how else to do it.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I'm gonna tweet everything I'm going through today.
Oh my God.
And
it's like a big diary.
It was a diary for me. And the tweets are long gone now, so don't try to look for them. But I would tweet like really dark things. And I don't know why I did that, but something in my mind was telling me, you need to put this on the internet. You need to. Something was telling me that I need to put it on the internet. I don't know what. But later, you know, as I got older, I was like, no one needs to know the darkest times. But when I do vocalize it, I feel like it's the scariest, most rewarding thing I could do.
Yeah.
Because even on So You Think, when I, you know, told my story on TV, it was scary. I was scared. I was scared that people were going to think I was, you know, making it up. I was attention seeking. I was doing any of that. And it turned out to be the most rewarding thing I've ever done.
Yeah.
Was going on TV and saying, listen, you know what? I've dealt with suicidal thoughts my entire life. And listen, I'm here. I'm a success story. And if you can, and you can do anything you put your mind to, you know, as long as you stay strong.
Yeah.
That's like the number one thing.
And honestly, like, I wanted just to ask you about that because first off, like, I think we talked about it last year, and like, what made you feel like comfortable sharing it like with me? Because when I heard that, like, I just wanted to hug you, and I just like wanted to be there for you, but I didn't know like how much I could be there for you. But it opened my eyes up to like, wow, like you were so strong and so inspiring. So just like, what made you comfortable enough like to share that with me and know that it was safe with me?
Well, one thing about you is that you made me feel like you're like a friend that makes me feel like I can conquer the world. Like you're like one of those friends. And in that moment, we were having a very vulnerable conversation. And I was like, you know what? I need to tell her what I've been through because I want her to know that it's okay if she ever does feel like that I've been through something like that. And so what I did tell you about, you know, what I went through, I felt so comfortable with you because you didn't judge me for it. You just, you listened. You sat there and listened to me, and I feel like that's what people need to do more often. Instead of being like, you know, that's so selfish of you to do. You know, that's such a selfish act for you to even think about that. You know, it'd be like, I'm so sorry you went through that, and I'm here for you. Yeah. And that's exactly what you did. You said, I'm here for you. And that was so important to me because, you know, I've known you since I was, when we compete, like, I was like 10.
Yeah.
And so I would see you passing by and, you know, obviously I knew who you were, but, now that we have this relationship, it means everything to me because you are someone I feel very comfortable with. And that that I can open up to, and that's why in that moment I opened up about my darkest moments.
Yeah.
So that's probably why I felt I needed to say something.
Yeah, and let me say, like, also whenever you text me, it lightens my day because it's always like, hey, like, hope you're doing well. Like, it's always just such a genuine response or just a random message that I didn't expect. And it honestly is something that I am so thankful for. because again, like, not many people do that randomly.
Yeah.
And like, you know, people have life and stuff, so like I understand all that, but it's always like great when you just get a message without asking for anything in response.
Right. And not expecting something out of a relationship.
Yeah.
I feel like, you know, relationships take hard work. Let's all be real here. Friendships, relationships, sisterhoods, anything. It all takes hard work. But I feel like with you, because of what we both have gone through, you have another outlook on life, like I do. And I feel like the way I look at life is, you know, I wanted so badly to take it away from myself that now I'm like, oh, I have so much to live for.
Yeah.
Now I do. And I know that you've been through some stuff and really hard stuff. And I feel like you have a different outlook on life because sometimes we both were like, I just don't feel like doing it today.
Yeah.
Or, you know, sometimes in my life I was like, I don't feel like living right now. I don't. And that's just the reality of it. That's the reality of, you know, depression, anxiety, all of that. That's the reality of it. And we need to talk about the darkest moments more.
And that's something that I want to do this year, is talk about it more. And I'm not like any sort of advocate or anything like that. It's just, it's always been something so important for me because I do deal with things, and maybe it's not as intensely as other people, but I think it's still something that should be respected. And
it's still valid.
Like that. Yeah, and it has impacted my life in an enormous way, and but I think it's become such a huge issue with everyone.
Yes.
Like,
oh yeah.
I feel like there isn't one person who hasn't gone through something in their life or isn't dealing with anxiety or depression or any sort of mental illness, great or small, but all of it is valid.
It is.
And it's your truth, and it's nothing to be ashamed about. And I think that was something hard for me to accept, was because I feel like I was always the happy person, like positive, like nothing's wrong, life's great.
Yeah.
But the moment that I allowed myself to become more vulnerable, it was like this weight off my shoulders.
Yeah.
And I was like, I can breathe.
Yeah.
And there's still so many times where I'll get anxiety attacks.
Yeah, oh, absolutely.
Because I'm an overthinker.
Yeah.
I'm a people pleaser and a perfectionist. Those three things are not good things.
They're not a good mix.
They are not a good mix. And like, I don't know. Like, anxiety has hit me harder in the past 2 years than it ever did in my entire life. And there would be moments where I legit couldn't breathe and I didn't know why. I was like, why can't I breathe?
Yeah.
Like, I would call my mom. I was like, this is not normal. Like,
no.
She's like, you're having an anxiety attack. And I was like, this isn't, like, I never thought I would go through something like that. And it's scary. And it felt so real.
Yeah.
Because I only ever saw it in movies or like on TV. Like, I never saw it in person, or because people never talked about it. But actually experiencing that, it's the most terrifying thing in the world.
Yeah.
And it would last like long periods of time.
For sure.
And like, I mean, I had some instances even last year, or like a couple months ago, like, and I think it's just me getting in my own head and staying in my own head.
Yeah.
And that's one of my biggest flaws is isolating myself in my own mind. Because I truly, like, when people say they're their own worst critic, I am truly my worst critic.
Yeah.
Because I think things before I allow other people to think things.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I think that's what hinders me
Yeah.
with sharing a lot
Yeah.
is because I'm like, oh, no one's going to want to listen to this. When in reality, I feel like even if it's just one person, like that's enough.
Yeah, and you know, the platform they do have, all of these kids, you know, even moms, you know, especially after this, you know, goes on the internet, you're gonna be opened up because, you know, after like my audition, like a mom reached out to me and was like, "You saved my kid's life."
Yeah.
And I was like, "Whoa."
I wanted to ask you, like, have you had any instances where, like, it's been something as big as that where, like, people have come up to you and said, hey, like, you saved my life? Or, like...
Yeah.
And how does that, like, make you feel? How do you react to that?
Yeah, so like a couple times, like just in like maybe a JoJo class, like after class, you know, someone, for example, this really sweet guy, he came up to me. He's from another country, and he didn't speak super good English, but like he was a beautiful person, and he came up to me and he was like, you know, I was on the brink of, you know, wanting to leave this earth, and then your audition came on the TV, and he was like, I stopped what I was doing. I put everything down, and I was like, holy crap, this girl, she just changed my life. Like, she saved my life. And I looked at him in the eye and I was like, you saved mine. I wouldn't be here without the support of all these people, you know, that, you know, either DM'd me, either called, because I got some calls like through Instagram, like through like a FaceTime call, and they were like, you know, you truly changed the way I look at people who deal with suicidal thoughts, who deal with depression, and that they're not these monsters. They're not these people that are mentally crazy. I've been called crazy so many times. I've been called psychotic so many times. But that's not what it is. It's just people who are hurting more. People who are hurting, and people who don't know where else to turn.
Yeah.
And so in those instances, I got, you know, the most beautiful feedback, and I really felt, this is my purpose. Like, this is what I was meant to do, and I was meant to help people through something that has helped me, and something that has saved my life could save other people. So in those moments, my world stopped. Like, when people tell me that, my world just shifts. And I am so beyond thankful for those people, because I wouldn't be here today without them.
Yeah. Wow.
But yeah, it's just, it's insane every time it does happen, because I'm like, me?
Yeah.
I'm like, no, I'm just a girl from Lake Elsinore. Like, I sometimes I'm like, I don't deserve this, but.
Oh my God. Well, you deserve everything and more.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And like, your story has just inspired me, because whenever like I'm going through something hard, I just remember you and how strong you are and how you've been able to have a positive outlook on life, and how much you've grown in such a short amount of time too, and that we've known each other. And again, it's just so incredible to have someone like you who kind of understands the mental health side of things, and like have someone like you to talk to. And I think that's all someone needs, is just someone to talk to. And you could have different people to talk to about different things. You don't have to just always have to put everything into one person, right? Because sometimes that could be a little overwhelming. Yeah. But like, you could talk to different people about different things, or you could have your one group of people who you just hang out with and have fun, go out and stay up late and all that. And then you could have those other people who, if you're having a bad day, you're like, hey, let's talk. Let's talk. You know, let's grab some coffee and let's talk.
Right.
You know?
It's super important to have a mix of those people.
Yeah.
Because when you're having your good days, You know, you want them, and when you're having your bad days, you want them too.
Yeah.
So it's super important to have those mix of people. But I feel like you're a perfect example of one person being a mix of all of those.
Oh, thank
So
you.
I'm very lucky to have you in my life. Like, I really am.
Yeah.
Very lucky.
And I think it was very important for me to talk about mental health because I've hinted at it here and there, and everything, and just ever since, I mean, even beforehand, but truly ever since COVID, I've seen so many people go through things, or like I see signs from people, and they're not like vocal about it, but I could kind of see I went through something like this. So that's when I like reach out to them and say, hey, like, how are you?
How you doing?
And because you just never know.
Right.
And I think that's the scariest thing is what people put online. It's a highlight reel. And they could have the worst day. They could be crying and like typing their phone
so
saying,
happy.
I just did the greatest thing. But like, people think, oh, like, look how great they're doing. They're succeeding. They're doing all this stuff. But behind the camera, behind the screen, they could be disastrous and just going through the worst time in their life.
Right.
And I think for me, some of the happiest moments that I had online, I was actually going through it, like in the deepest part of my life.
Yeah.
And no one knew. And they didn't know until years later.
Yeah.
And it's still like a scary thing for me to like put out there, but I think I've kind of grown and have this understanding of how to articulate my thoughts and my feelings and my emotions, and I'm able to use that to help other people and to connect with them. But I used to never be able to do this with someone. Sit down and talk about how I feel or what I'm going through or what they're going through. Like I never did that. Which is fine because again, I was younger, you know, and stuff. But I had this one instance that like opened my mind to doing this more often, and it's changed my life significantly. And it was when like the first time that I ever opened up to someone, and like we just sat down and we like talked and cried. Like everything just came forward, and it was so releasing, and so just new. And I was like, wow, I feel like this connection just got so much deeper, and I feel so much closer to you.
Yeah.
And ever since then, like, I was open to having more of that because life goes by so fast, and you really don't know how fast it goes by.
Yeah, no.
Until you blink your eyes and you're like, what?
What's going on?
What?
Yeah.
Like, I'm 21 this year? No.
Crazy.
Yeah. And it's like, because life goes by so fast, it's important to slow down and just be there for someone. And it doesn't have to be often. It could just be once in a while. But again, I think the most important thing is to not expect anything back.
Right.
And it's just to be there for them, no matter what.
Just to listen.
Yeah.
Like, that's so important. I feel like people just are so quick to judge other people that are hurting. And that's something that, like, growing up, like, I didn't have a lot of friends. Because most of the people that were in my life were like, you're just too much. You're too much to handle as a friend.
What does that even mean, too much?
I don't know, but like they told me that I had too many problems. And I was like, okay, let's slow down a little bit and just realize the bigger picture here. I'm a good friend. I'm maybe going through a lot, but I'm going to put you before me. That's just how I am.
Yeah.
Even though it's kind of the wrong thing to do. But
I get it. Like,
yeah, I just care so deeply.
Yeah.
I care so deeply about people. And I have a really big heart. So, like, it's just, I want to give it to everybody as much as possible.
Too.
Yeah. So, growing up, I didn't have a lot of friends because I did kind of pour out everything on all of my friends, but that was only because I was hurting so much inside
Yeah.
that I didn't have it. I mean, of course, I had my beautiful therapist, which I still go to. I mean, I've been going to her since I was 10.
Wow.
Yeah, therapy is so important. That's
Yeah.
one thing that I always encourage people to go to. But I was just, it was hard for me to feel comfortable in myself because I always felt like I was burdening other people.
Yeah.
And that's something as I'm growing older and I'm meeting more genuine people. I'm like, okay, I'm not so much of a burden after all. Yeah, no, but like now that I'm realizing it, I'm like, okay, I can share these things and they won't judge me for it.
Yeah.
That's like the a beautiful thing to realize.
And why is it that whenever we share something vulnerable, we feel like we're going to be judged? Why is that the first reaction?
I know.
And like, I don't, because whenever I go to be like, oh, I want to share this, like, I get so much anxiety.
Yeah.
And I'm like, why?
Right,
Why am I
right.
so anxious about this?
We need to normalize it.
Yeah.
We need to normalize talking about feeling crappy.
Yeah.
Like, we need to normalize that because
And
other
it
people are
doesn't,
too.
again, it doesn't have to be anything like deep. We don't have to like bawl and
Right,
like cry.
right.
But it can just be like a normal thing where people aren't scared. Because that's when everything just builds up and it's not good. Like, people just shove it down, and then whether it's weeks later, months later, years later, it comes back up, and it comes back more intensely.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's just I think it's just so crazy how we always think the worst of things before it even
Right.
happens.
Right. And I feel like I've talked to like studios, like dance studios.
Yeah.
Like I would go to like studios and I'll talk about like the importance of therapy and like the importance of taking care of yourself in your mental health. And before each of those, talks with these kids, I would have, anxiety. I would have panic attacks. I would be like, I can't do this because I feel like these kids are going to look at me like I'm a psycho. Like that's just how I thought. But as soon as I finished and I heard these kids, go, I feel like I'm sad all the time. Why am I sad all the time? Or, I feel like I'm not, good enough for this class or something like that. And it made me feel like, I'm not alone.
Yeah.
These kids that are like 10 and I'm like, I was 18 at the time, they're going through the same thing I am. They're just really young. And that's what breaks my heart too, is these young kids are already put in this mindset of I have to be like this in order to succeed. And I can't go to therapy or I can't do anything that really helps me get out of this dark place. And they take the bad. The one thing that when I was going to these studios, I was like, the one thing is always be yourself.
Yeah.
Because that's going to help you through everything. And that's helped me through everything. And that's helped you through everything. And I feel like just being yourself is so important. And that'll help in the dance industry too, but that'll also help in your life.
Yeah.
Because you're going to be your authentic self and you're always going to be genuine. And it's going to rub off on other people. And it's going to, you're going to be a light every time you walk in a room. Like, you're a light every time you walk in the room. So it's like, it's going to, it's going to help. It's going to help other people too.
And there is something that I wanted to say about that and then go back to the whole therapy thing and everything. But I was thinking today, and I was just thinking about how there really is only one of you. There will never be someone, not even like you, but there will never be you.
Right.
Ever. In this whole entire universe.
Which is crazy.
People can be inspired by people and like, take some of their style, like, have little influences here and there. But like DNA, like you
Everything.
as a person, no one else can replicate that. And when you think that way, you realize everyone is special in their own way. And it may not feel like it, but it's the truth.
Yeah.
And it's so crazy how, like, we think, oh, we're not important enough or anything, but just realize that. There's never going to be someone like you.
There's only one
ever.
you.
There's only one you. And I just thought, I felt so small when I was thinking about that, because, like, that's a lot of people to think about.
Yeah.
But it's so true.
Yeah.
Like, and it's just weird to think, like, you were born in this time for a reason.
Yeah.
Whether you know it or not, like, there's a reason.
Everyone has a
you're
purpose
here.
on this planet.
Yeah.
Everyone does. And I feel like, you know, for a while I lost touch with what my purpose was, because I just felt like, you know, I have none. But, like, when people started telling me, you know, you should do this with what you're doing, or you should do this, or you should do that. And I'm like, you know what? I should.
Yeah.
Because that could be my purpose.
Yeah.
And I'm still trying to figure it out. I'm only 20.
Me too.
So it's like I'm still figuring out my purpose. Like, we don't know it yet.
Yeah. And we may never figure it out. And that's completely fine.
Yeah.
But I think we have to stop hindering ourselves and just put ourselves out there more.
Yeah.
Because nothing's going to happen if we just sit down and isolate ourselves.
Right. And some people, like some friends or people that I know in the dance industry, like their coping mechanism is to isolate themselves, like totally just not answer the phone. That's their coping mechanism.
Yeah.
I get it. That's not mine. I'm more of a, I need to be around people so I don't get in my own head about anything, and I'm in a room alone. But I think it's super important, if you are alone, to call I just think therapy is so important. I'm going to keep going back to it, but I just think therapy is so important. And we need to also normalize medication. We need to normalize that, because I feel like people think, you know, if you take meds, you're a little crazy. And it's like, no, I take meds. And that is partly, you know, saved my life. The imbalance in my brain, obviously the meds are going to help. And it's a matter of staying on top of my pills. And it's a matter of normalizing that it's okay to take medication, because it's going to help. And if you do take medication, don't be ashamed of that. I feel like people are a little ashamed of, you know, if they have to take medication for, you know, certain mental health problems, but it's also like they're helping you. So is your therapist. Your therapist is there to listen.
Yeah.
And I just think it's like very looked down upon. For some reason, it's very taboo to talk about like meds, and to talk about even the idea of like suicide. It's very taboo to talk about it.
Yeah.
Even the word is a little scary, right?
Yeah. Like, people feel like they have to walk on eggshells when they hear it.
Right. And, you know, as someone who has been so outwardly, you know, spoken about suicide and what I've gone through with suicide, people, you know, tend to be like, let's not make her angry. Let's not make her sad, because she's going to do something. Yeah. No. That's just what I've gone. That's the past. The past doesn't need me. The future does, though, you know?
Yeah.
So I had this moment where I was like, why are people thinking like that? I mean, it was my choice to be outspoken about my experience with depression.
Yeah.
And people, you know, some people still walk on eggshells, which that is your choice. That is your decision to walk on eggshells around me. But I'm stronger than I've ever been.
Yeah.
Honestly.
And let me say, like, you're so strong for doing that, because, like, even for me, like, I don't talk about that. But, like, you are so strong to do that. And I think everyone is so different.
Yeah.
But it truly means a lot when there are people who are willing to be open with that, because people are there to listen to it. And they're like, wow, that's something that I'm going through.
Right.
I'm glad that I'm not alone.
Right.
And I think I always go back to that, is like, you were never alone.
No.
Ever. Because someone out there is going through something that you're going through.
Right.
But the only reason you don't know is because it's not a topic that's talked about enough.
Right.
And I think I would just wanted to go back to the therapy thing, because I did therapy for, I don't know, I think I did like 2-3 sessions or something.
Period?
but it wasn't for me.
Okay. And it's not for
So-
everybody.
Exactly. And I think that's okay too. Like I gain my therapeutic sessions through dance and through teaching. And I think I feel so calm and connected when I get to teach, especially contemporary. I feel the most myself, and I never thought that teaching would impact me in that way.
Yeah.
It was more like, I love to dance, let's teach. You know, I want
Right.
to give back to people who have supported me
Right.
throughout the years. But then whenever I teach contemporary, I feel this sort of relief because I'm able to talk and I'm able to connect with people
Right.
and say, hey, this is a safe space. My class is a safe space for you to let out any sort of emotion. I don't care if you do the dance 100% correct. I don't care if you get any of the steps. I care that you are allowing yourself to be vulnerable in this moment, and you're allowing yourself to release anything that needs to be released. Because there are moments when I go to class and like I just had a breakdown right before.
Right.
And I go to class and I go there to release it. And I feel so much better afterward because I didn't hold it in.
Right.
I let myself feel all those things, whether it's a full out hip hop class or
Right.
it's an emotional contemporary class.
Yeah.
But I think my therapy is through movement.
Yeah.
And it's through connecting with people and talking to people.
Yeah. Therapy comes in
and
different forms.
It does. And I think that's important for people to find their own ways.
Yeah.
Because I think it is something important. And I know a lot of people who do go to therapy. And it has become more normalized, which I'm glad about.
I'm glad too.
But it's still, it sort of seems like this taboo thing where like people are scared. They're like, oh no, like something's wrong with me if I go to therapy.
Right.
It's like, no, like it's just another way for you to
let it all out.
To let it out.
Yeah, you can't keep it inside because one of these days it's gonna all explode.
Yeah.
And that's bad. You don't want that to happen.
Yeah.
So my therapist is literally the best. Like she has helped me through so much, and like growing up, I had at one time I had 3 different therapists.
Really?
3 different therapists.
Oh my God.
For 3 different things.
Wow.
Which was literally insane, but all 3 of them helped in different areas of what I was going through. And I'm forever grateful for that experience, but dance is also my therapy.
Yeah.
Dance also saved my life. So I feel like, like you said, if I can inspire one person, I'm set.
Yeah.
I am set. I am
It's
so lucky.
the most incredible feeling knowing that you've helped someone.
Yeah. Oh, it's the best.
And that's what I feel like my purpose is helping others. And I don't feel that much joy doing anything else than when I have helped someone.
Right.
And it's incredible that I get to do that with my love or with my craft or with my platforms. And it's scary sometimes, like it's nerve-wracking
course.
because that's another added pressure that I put on myself, but it's the most freeing thing in the world. And it just makes me happy when I do see those messages, because I appreciate it so much more. Like I appreciated it years ago, but now I have this respect for it,
Yeah.
and I understand it more. And when I see those messages, I know, like, wow, this is a big deal, and it makes me feel like I'm doing what I'm supposed to do.
Right. And a lot of these people see you as a role model. I mean, they see you as someone like, I want to be like her. And like, I want to do this and I want to do that. But also it's like, I want to, her everything, not even just like her flaws, but like everything she's been through, like her struggles, like, so what? I still want to be like her. So what? And I feel like because you have this, I would say it's a pressure on your shoulders. I mean, you have so many eyes looking at you, but it's also such a blessing. And it's such like a really important thing to recognize, that you have this platform, and that even this is like really beautiful what you're doing, and I'm very lucky to be a part of it.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, I'm very lucky, and yeah, it's just you've handled everything so well, and you've handled how you speak to these people so well, and you're so the way you vocalize things is really impressive.
Thank you.
And really amazing. And you say you're not an advocate, but I think you are. I think you're an advocate for so many things, and I've always thought that way. So, I think you should see yourself as an advocate, because you definitely are.
Thank you.
You definitely are.
I think the biggest thing for me has always been, I feel like I'm only seen as a dancer, and I think that's always been the hardest thing to break out of, because I'm not going to go cold turkey and just abandon dance and do something else.
Yeah.
But like, there's so many different sides to myself, but I get in my own way, and I'm like, no one's going to want to see this. They only want to see me dance. So that's when I get scared about sharing other things, or even talking, because I'm like, people aren't following me for this. They're following me for my dancing.
I understand that.
And so I think this year I kind of tried to shift my mentality and say, that's fine. Like, people follow me for whatever reason, but I also want to do this for me. And like I said, if this can help even just one person, or if one person's viewing this right now, hi, like, that is the most rewarding thing. And I'm like, I want to be your best friend.
Right.
But I think that's where I've always struggled, is for people to see me as a person.
Right.
But that's partly my fault, because I don't allow myself to do that. And when I do, it's always been through my movement, my craft. So now I said, this year, you know what? We're going for it.
We're going for it.
We're doing something new.
Right.
And I just felt it was right in my heart, because I've been contemplating on the idea of doing this since 2020.
Right.
And just always got in my own way about it. But also I feel like I'm thankful I didn't do it years ago, because I wasn't ready.
Yeah.
I was going through a lot,
Right.
but I wasn't ready to talk about it. I wouldn't have been able to sit there without bursting into tears.
Oh, I totally get that.
And so I feel like I've grown so much as a person, and I'm able to actually sit and articulate everything, and be able to express that, to where people can understand.
Right.
And I'm very grateful for you and for coming on here and sharing your story, because it's giving me strength to be able to share and open up soon. but this was so important, and I even feel closer with you now, and I think a lot of people are going to be so inspired by you, and if they're not already, and it's been very eye-opening for me to hear everything that you've said and what you believe in, and I think we have a lot of the same mentality and beliefs, and that's why I feel like we're able to have a genuine conversation, and I guess I just want to end this with if you have any sort of mental health resources that you really recommend. I'm going to put some in the links down below and stuff for anybody that needs to talk about any sort of mental health, whether it's anxiety, depression, suicide, eating disorders, anything like that, because you are not alone in anything, and it's so important to talk about it.
Yes. Well, I work with an organization called To Write Love on Her Arms, and that charity focuses on self-harm and suicide, and I am really trying to work with them more this year, and I feel like they're a beautiful resource. And I also think the suicide hotline, it changed its number. I'm pretty sure it changed its number. I have to remember what the number was, but
we'll make sure to find.
We'll put it in the but the suicide hotline actually helped me when I was going through some things, and I used to call the hotline frequently. And that is also a very beautiful, beautiful outlet. And I just want to, leave with what I said before, like, it's just a bad day and not a bad life. And this is just a bad bump in the road. And, life goes on. And
it goes by fast.
And we have to live in each moment, and we have to live in each relationship we have. And that's why I'm so grateful for our relationship, because, even you bringing me on, like, that is a huge opportunity, and for both of us. I mean, I feel like it's a huge platform that we can talk about things that we're going through. And especially sitting here with one of my favorite people in the world, I feel way more comfortable doing so. So thank you, Kaycee.
Thank you. Oh my God, I'm like getting anxious now, like that I'm gonna be releasing this and everything. But like, no, like
don't be anxious, because all these people are gonna look to you and be like, dang, I needed that. I needed what they were talking about.
Yeah.
So don't be anxious.
Yeah. I am so grateful for you, and this just, oh my God, I'm so happy that we did this.
Me
and
too.
Thank you for being my first guest.
I'm so happy. I'm honored, honestly.
Yeah,
I'm honored. So thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much. And thank you guys for listening. If you made it this far, we have all of the links in the description down below. And oh my God, I'm already like shaking.
It's okay.
Make sure to follow Maci if you're not already. Do you have like any plugs you want to put in?
Follow me on Instagram at Maci Montes with 2 S's at the end. But I love you guys.
Yeah.
I love you, and I love you, Kaycee.
I love you so much.
I love you.
And this has just been great.
This has been amazing.
Yeah.
So amazing. Yeah.
Well, thank you guys, and we'll see you on the next episode. Peace.
Bye.